Ladies and gentlemen, how's everybody feeling? Yeah, good. Come on, let's do that one more time. Yeah. That's what I like to hear. Welcome to Tales. Welcome to Le Booze Bar. And welcome to Art, Alchemy, and Ingredients. Why are Italian spirits so damn good? That's what we're going to talk about today. Many thanks to Tales of the Cocktail for hosting us. This is my 15th Tales, by the way. That deserves a round of applause just for living that into getting through it. Thank you guys for taking the time to sit and learn and drink with us. Thank you to our beautiful producers who you can see the bottles lined up over here, and you can see the names up, logos up on the screen over here. Incredible spirits, truly representing a great cross-section of Italian spirits. Thank you to our exceptional crack bartenders, Jessica and Pat over here from Knoxville, Tennessee, who helped us bang all this out. And thank you mostly to the Italian Trade Commission, who is our host and sponsor today. The Italian Trade Commission is an arm of the Italian government whose sole purpose it is to spread the joy, the beauty, the love, the culture of Italian products, services, intellectual property and culture around the world. It's a pretty cool job, and they're all deliberating over there in the corner, so thank you to them. My name is Tad Carducci. I am a restaurant, food and beverage lifer. Been doing this for about 30 years. As a bartender, as a som, as a GM, as an owner, as a consultant, as a spirits educator, because those exist now, which is pretty awesome. As an author, too. I think probably a couple other things. I was a pizza maker there for a little while. It didn't work out so well. But I grew up in an Italian-American household. I grew up around these spirits since I was 12 or so. So these things have sentimental value to me. But I'm very, very passionate about Aperitivo, Digestivo, about Amaro. I'm a very bitter individual, as you will find out. So this is all kind of in my wheelhouse. What we are going to do today is spend the next 28 minutes talking about the history, the culture of Italian spirits, and showing them to you by way of 6 very simple cocktails, simple but unique, kind of a wide variety of cocktails to show you how to use Aperitivo bitters, Amaro, Vermouth, liqueurs in cocktails that you can take back either to your bars or at home. That's what we're going to do. Who here, show of hands, who here is in the industry? Nice. Who here is a bartender or a buyer? Or oh, nice. This is going to be a good round. I like that. Good. So if you have any questions along the way, feel free, throw your hand up. We do have to move quickly, but I'll be happy to answer if I can. So when we look at all these bottles that are over here at the end of the bar, we'll see dates like 1850, 1860, 1875, 1885, 1815. So these brands are family-owned brands. They are multi-generational brands that have been around for well over 100 years. It's very, very typical within Italian spirits, carrying on the tradition of doing things artisanally and passing things on for multiple generations. When we think about what we're drinking, Aperitivo and Digestivo, and everything that kind of falls in between, yes, these are our dates, the mid-1800s, but we have to go back thousands of years to the beginnings of these categories. Back to the Roman Empire, when Roman soldiers, commoners, and nobility alike would flavor wine, would infuse their wine with flavors of the day. Oftentimes, it was to mask really shittily made wine, really bad stuff. So they would use indigenous fruits. They would use botanicals. They would use medicinal herbs like juniper, gentian root, artemisia, or wormwood. Spices that were the result of global trade from India and all over Asia. They would flavor their wines with these things to make them taste better, but also they were doing them for medicinal purposes, to create tonics, to create elixirs, either preventatives or curatives for a whole host of things from parasites. Water was very unsafe to drink for thousands of years. Diseases of the kidneys, diseases of the liver, madness, hysteria, to cure the chronic propensity to turn into a werewolf. I swear to God. That's in medical journals. But that's the beginning of all of these things. They started as medicine. Then they understood that if you added a little sugar, made the medicine go down. And if you put different things in different combinations, you get a wide variety of flavor profiles. So that's how we kind of started from here. Technology grew, the medicine got a little more powerful, the ingredients got more abundant, and that's how we kind of moved on from there. So bear that in mind as we taste through some of these. Let's jump in and taste the very first cocktail on your top left. Cocktail number 1. This is called Strictly Speaking. And this is very much an aperitivo style of drink. So everybody has had an aperitivo before? Has everybody had a digestivo before? Right? Aperitivo, to open, to stimulate the appetite. Aperitivo, aperire means open. So an aperitivo is something light, refreshing, oftentimes bubbly, oftentimes sour or bitter or both, often herbaceous, lower in alcohol than a digestivo, which is made to help you digest, which has more work to do. So it's got more alcohol generally, it's got more bitterness, it's got more herbaceousness, sometimes more sugar. It has to do more work to help you clear everything out at the end of the meal. Does that make sense? Yeah. So, aperitivo and digestivo, they stem from medicine, but why do they work? Anybody? Why do they work? I said I'm a very what individual before? Bitter. Bitterness, my friends. Why? Because in nature, bitter is a warning sign that says, I am going to freaking kill you. It is poison. Bitter is a warning sign for poison. So when our bodies ingest something that is heavily bitter, our brain sends a message to the digestive system saying, get this out of us as fast as you possibly can, as thoroughly as you can, to give us the best fighting chance at survival. So we start to salivate. The esophagus starts to spasm. The stomach muscles go. We create bile. We create pepsin. Blood flows to the stomach, all with the intention of getting everything out to try to live. Now, if we ingest something that's just a little bit bitter, we shrink down the dose. Our brain says, guys, we could have an issue here. I just want everybody to be aware. Let's keep our eyes out. Let's start the processes. So we start the process in a very mild form, but that gets everything moving. Does that make sense? Yes. I just made it up, but I think it makes sense. Good. So the first drink is an aperitivo style drink. For me, when I drink an aperitivo, I think things like an Americano, a spritz, maybe a French 75. So this drink, strictly speaking, kind of a celebration of a couple different Italian ingredients, is sort of a riff on a spritz, an Italian version of a French 75. Art, alchemy, ingredients. Why do Italians make such great spirits? Why do they make such beautiful food? Such beautiful, simple food? Because they have every soil type that exists on Earth. They have 24 microclimates. They are a rock that sticks out into the middle of 4 oceans with temperate maritime climates. It's the perfect growing conditions for, and they have sun almost all the time. Perfect growing conditions for great produce. Same reason for food and for spirits. Here we're celebrating 2 ingredients, the Italian sour cherry in the form of Luxardo sour cherry gin. We're all bartenders, we all know maraschino, right? From Luxardo. The famous liqueur used in multiple cocktails, distilled from the pits, the leaves, and the blossoms of the Marasca cherry tree, not from the fruit. Luxardo, there's a Luxardo cherry in there. Luxardo also cans up bunches and bunches of cherries that we all use behind our bars. But this is a London dry gin that they distill and then infuse with sour cherry juice. So it's super cool, it's brand new. A great alternative to a traditional or a more modern style gin. It's only 37%, so it's not high in alcohol, but it's really cool. So that we paired with, and let me show you. Thank you. This is the Luxardo sour cherry gin. Pellini, Limoncello. Everybody knows Limoncello, alcohol infused with a variety of lemon peel, sweetened with sugar. Pellini. Since 1875, it's been family-owned, the Amalfi Coast in southern Italy, so we have northern Italy, southern Italy represented. Lemons are everywhere. You've seen lemon trees in Italy? They're everywhere. They're critical to Italian culture and Italian food. All the lemons that we use, that you buy in the store, that you use behind your bars, are a derivation of or a hybrid stem from the original Italian Feminello lemon. So lemons are from the place. Polini is one of the world's best-selling and most prolific limoncello from the Amalfi Coast and from Rome. They use a variety of lemons called sfusato. Sfusato means oblong or bulky, and it looks like a football. It's about this big, and it's oval, and it has almost no juice in it. It's all skin, it's all pith, it's super oily, and it's perfect for limoncello, which is why you get that really kind of unctuous lemon oil sort of thing in this drink. Then we use Prosecco as well. What do you think of this drink? Like it? Did you give it a finger stir? Yeah? Great way to understand, because I think a lot of us, especially behind the bar, we don't think about using limoncello in cocktails. I didn't for so many years. But it brings such a vibrant citrus component to a drink that it's great. Cocktail number 2. Now, with number 2, we went in a different direction. I wanted to show you an aperitivo drink, something kind of lower in alcohol, but in the sort of stirred old-fashioned style. So we did a low ABV, stirred down cocktail that we called Spiced Nuts. And that's for a couple reasons that I'm about to show you. Okay, so the spice. Has anybody ever heard of cardamaro? Yes. Right? Anybody, raise your hand if you've not heard of cardamaro. Nice. See, I love what's happening in the country. Cardamaro from the Asti region in the Piedmont. Cardamaro is what's called a Vino Amaro. It's not technically a vermouth, but it is an infused aromatized wine made from Moscato. It's got things like gentian, juniper, licorice, cardamom, but the name comes from the most important botanical. Anybody know what that is? Cardoon. Very good. Cardoon. Cardoon is a vegetable that is related to the artichoke. It's related to the thistle family. It's this really long, funky, stemmy vegetable with this beautiful flower. It's intensely vegetal and intensely earthy. This area of the Piedmont has its own protection for what's called the Nizza Monferrato cardoon. It's a protected vegetable. It's a slow food recognized vegetable. They're nuts about it. And that is the main botanical element in here. That's what gives us our spice. Nuts. This is nocello from a producer called Toschi. Toschi is in Emilia-Romagna outside of Modena. They're famous for making nut liqueurs out of walnuts and hazelnuts. They're also famous for fregola, which is a wild strawberry liqueur. And they make something called nocino. If you ever find nocino, get it. It's intense, black, bitter walnut liqueur. It's super great. Not for everybody, but it's great. Nocello is a combination of hazelnut and walnut. It's a liqueur, 24% alcohol, a great modifier for cocktails. I think it works really well in this drink. What do you think of this drink? Okay. The secret here is that we add a little bit of Venezuelan rum. Not as our base, but as our modifier, just to bolster it up, give it some strength, give it a little more sugar and body. Okay, cocktail number 3. What I did with cocktail number 3 was I wanted to take 2 very traditional digestivo ingredients in the form of Grappa and Amaro Lucano, which is a very sort of full-bodied, rich Amaro, and use them as an aperitivo. So kind of flip the script and make a long, almost Americano style of cocktail. The name comes from the fact that Nardini is way up in the hills in Bassano del Grappa in the Veneto, and Lucano comes from Matera in southern Italy, which is also a hilly area. Also, the name comes from the fact that when I came up with the cocktail, I was hiking in Colorado on gummies. Thank you for that. Grappa, what is Grappa? Grappa is pomace spirit. Grappa is Italy's national spirit. Grappa is an eau de vie made from the leftovers, the pressings, the winemaking process. It's always steam distilled for gentle extraction from a variety of grapes. Nardini is the oldest continuously operating Grappa house in Italy from 1779, in the same place by the same family. They sell 25% of the Grappa in the world, but still done very artisanally. Amaro Lucano, 4th generation from 1894. They use about 32 different botanicals. It's very complex. And it's very rich, very roasted in style, and a little more viscous. So that, some fresh strawberry and sparkling lemonade. The last reason it's called High in the Hills is that little bit of chili flake on top to give you, to spice it up a little bit. Who likes this one? Yeah, it's cool, right? And this is a great, I mean, you could swap in and out different Amari, different Aperitivi, different sodas and things. It's a really fun cocktail. Okay, where are we? Number 4. Say the name with me, friends. Number 4. No, the name of the drink. Do you see it in there? Tutti Frutti. Moletti and Ramazzotti, 2 T's. Fruit in the form of blood orange. And tea, because when you put Ramazzotti Aperitivo Rosato and Amaro Moletti together, it makes a very tea-like flavor profile. And then a little sage on top. Ramazzotti, one of the oldest producers of Aperitivo bitters, and Amaro in Italy from 1815, so very early in Milan. Moletti is a producer from the Marche in eastern Italy on the Adriatic. Again, another family-owned company from 1870. They use a lot of local saffron in their Amaro, which kind of gives it a different characteristic. What do you think of this drink? Nice, right? This is kind of the summer pounder. This is a Cosmo replacer, things like that, right? Good. Glad you like that one. And then, you know, if you're making this at a bar or at home, sage can be swapped out for fennel or arugula or basil or kind of whatever you want or you have growing in your garden. Okay, cocktail number 5. Premio. A combination of a couple different languages. The reason for the name, Premio. Primero means first in Spanish, and premio means prize in Italian. So you've got the kind of first prize or the top prize. The reason we use Primero is because this is essentially a mezcal Negroni that's all dolled up and doctored up and made delicious using mezcal. The reason for Premio is Amaro Montenegro, which I have in my hand here, from Bologna, Italy, since 1885, 40 different botanicals that go into it. Very global in style. What's that? But the secret to Amaro Montenegro is something called the Premio. It's a micro distillation. It's like a perfume, essentially, distillation of 5 botanicals that is so powerful that they drop 1 drop into every bottle. And that's really what makes up the DNA of the flavor profile. Then, one of the most beautiful vermouths in the world. What does vermouth mean? Wormwood, right? Vermouth is aromatized fortified wine. Vermouth comes from Torino, Italy. It's indisputably the birthplace of vermouth. Cocchi Storico is a vermouth made in the style that vermouth was made 300 years ago in the Piedmont. It's absolutely delicious. Wormwood, gentian root, all kinds of local herbs, and also cinchona bark. Everybody's heard of cinchona before? Or cinchona? The basis for tonic water, which is quinine. The reason that quinine and tonic is so prevalent in Italy, in the 1600s, there was an outbreak of malaria, and the Pope got sick. All of the Roman diocese in Rome, the leaders were getting sick and dying. You can't have that when you're Italy. So they found out about this stuff from Peru. They brought it over, they cured it, and then it found its way into all their drinks from there. Will you buy that for $1? Yep. I made that up too. All right. The last drink is, it has to be the last drink because it's a little rich in style. Wanted to send you off with sort of a dessert cocktail that's a little bit different, a little gutsy, a little robust. Give that one a little stir. This is called the Witch and the Siren. Anybody know why it's called the Witch? Strega. The famous liqueur from Benevento near Naples. Strega means witch. The reason it's called Strega is Benevento was a gathering place for witches of the Mediterranean. Like Salem, Massachusetts was here. And so Strega is a liqueur that's made with herbs and spices and all kinds of things from around the world. 70 different, a blend of 70 different things, finished with saffron, which is where the color comes from. Then we've got from Varnelli, which is a producer of Amaro, anise liqueurs and things, also in the Marche in central Italy. Fourth generation female-run company. This is their Amaro. It's called Amaro del Herbarista. It's unfiltered. It's cooked over an open fire, open wood fire, so it's gritty and chunky and bitter and earthy. Really, really delicious. So that's where you're getting that bitter tannic bite. They use a lot of rhubarb root. Rhubarb root in Amaro and in bitters makes very smoky, roasted sort of flavors. That's where that's coming from, in addition to the coffee. This comes from the Sibillini Mountains in the Marche. The Sibillini were sirens, or like clerical sirens, also like witches, who lived in the caves in these mountains. So, you know, Italians are all about mythology and lore. So this one is also based on that. That's why it's the witch and the siren. What do you think? Like this one? You're not buying that? Not buying that one? A really cool alternative to a straight up dessert drink. This one also works well with coconut milk, coconut cream, instead of dairy cream, with almond milk and things like that. That's our show, guys. Thank you.